Welcome to the Influence and Inspire podcast, episode 9. And I'm delighted to welcome my guest today, Claudine Adeyemi, founder and CEO of the Student Development Co. Claudine, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. I've been a while trying to track you down, but I finally got you here. So, Claudine, you're currently a solicitor specializing in property litigation.
Yeah.
How long have you been in your current role?
Well, I trained at the firm for a couple of years, and it's not until I qualified that I specialised in property disputes. So I've been doing that now for almost 3 years.
Okay, what made you decide to study law in the first place and become a solicitor?
A bit of an embarrassing reason, actually. When I
Okay,
was about 11, I kind of decided I wanted to be a lawyer,
right.
for no good reason other than I previously wanted to be a doctor and then realised that I was a bit scared of blood. So lawyer was like the next best thing.
Right. Okay.
And then it kind of stuck from there. So it turned out to be a good decision, but it was a decision I made when I was 11. So I'm not sure how, certain I was at the time that that was going to be the best career for me.
Yeah, but it's turned out to be a good decision, so
Yeah, exactly.
that's good. The decisions you make at such a young age, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
So you said you're in property litigation. Can you just explain a bit about what property litigation actually is?
Yeah, in a nutshell, it's disputes that people have that relate to property, basically. So that, as you can imagine,
Hmm.
covers a very, very wide area of law
Yeah.
and various kind of disputes. So we do a lot of kind of disputes between landlord and tenants,
Hmm.
um, and that's either commercial property or residential property. You get kind of what they call real property disputes. So you're dealing with kind of um, disputes concerning, say, boundaries or
Yeah.
rights of way and things like
Yeah.
that. I've had some squatters things. There's
Hmm.
all sorts of things. But if there's an argument and it relates to property, no matter how remote, we'll probably be picking it up.
Okay, so it's quite a varied role then. So
Yeah.
to
Which
keep,
makes it very interesting.
yeah,
Keeps you on
keeps
your
you busy.
toes.
Definitely, definitely. Right, the Student Development Co. I assume Co stands for company.
Yeah, student
Yes.
development company. Yeah.
Right, was founded by yourself in
Mhm,
2014 to
mhm.
support 16 to 24-year-olds from less advantaged backgrounds,
Yeah.
and it was to help them prepare for their careers after studies.
Yeah.
Can you explain a bit about how you provide that support?
Yeah, in a variety of ways, actually. Basically, we are quite a small team, and we are a team of young people. I still just have decided that I'm still a young person.
I'm sure
So,
you are.
so we're a team of young people, and that enables us to kind of respond to the needs of the young people that we try to serve, in a kind of ad hoc way. So, we've done all sorts of things in terms of proper initiatives and events with various companies where we give some of our the students that we work with or um, students from particular schools and sixth forms an insight into that company by kind of running half day sessions.
Hmm.
We've gone on to universities to run workshops. We've done talks at universities and sixth forms,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the more active support that we offer. But we also do all sorts online.
Hmm.
So we share tips, we share advice. We've got blog, we've got a newsletter,
Hmm.
um, and we meet with people one on one and respond to their inquiries one on one as well.
Hmm.
So I generally have a couple of students um, every week or every 2 weeks that I have a coffee with, or that
Yeah.
I'm speaking to on email to help them with whatever query they've got.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's all sorts of things that we have done and are doing, but we're quite flexible with it, and we kind of do it more dependent on what's needed rather than kind of pushing initiatives and activities on people.
Okay, so do you provide coaching for them as well?
I wouldn't say coaching in that sense, no.
Hmm. No.
It's more, I think a lot of our stuff is, in terms of the workshops, they have tended to be around kind of soft skills piece,
All
and
right.
really
Okay.
trying to make sure that people are ready for the workplace and can make that transition as smooth as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a completely different environment from studying. And then the rest of it is kind of, as I said, just responding to the particular queries that we get. So
Mm.
it might be looking at someone's CV, which I was doing just before actually we spoke
Yeah.
today, and or it could be kind of looking at an application or having a chat about different career options,
Mm-hmm.
throwing them onto some other kind of organization that might be able to service them better,
Yeah.
connecting them with a professional in our network that might be able to give them some mentoring or some tips and advice. So it completely varies.
Okay. Now, I think part of what you do is creating opportunities for young people
Mhm.
to reach their full potential. Now, how do you go about creating those opportunities?
So as I said, in terms of kind of running the events that we've run in the
All right.
past,
Okay.
and connecting people with opportunities that are out there. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if there is any kind of other non-profit that does things in and around the kind of young people space,
Mm-hmm.
we actively try and promote those events and opportunities to the young people we work with. We've had some companies want to advertise certain jobs and internships through us, so we've kind of linked up with them on that front. And in terms of the student development company itself, as I said, it's run by young people. So
Mm.
all of the people that we've got on board um, are using the student development company for themselves,
Yeah.
in terms of the opportunity that offers. So they tend to all be on board, kind of doing something that they're interested in, that they want to build up more experience of, so that when they then embark on their careers, they've
Mm-hmm.
got something more to say on their CV and have got a bit more experience under their belt, and have grasped a slightly different opportunity to what they may go on to do in their careers ultimately.
Yeah. And you say the student development company at the moment's got a small team. Do you plan to expand on the team?
Yeah, one day, I'm sure we'll be much bigger than we are
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, and we generally are able to expand because it is volunteers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as and when there is quite a clear need for someone new to join, which there generally always is because there's
Mm-hmm.
always lots to do,
Yeah.
then we try and actively recruit. But otherwise, it has grown organically. So
Okay.
we've kind of come across people who are really keen to volunteer with us, and generally speaking, everyone has been with us now, I think, for well over a year.
Okay.
So the retention is quite good and people enjoy it. And yeah, but if there's anyone that wants to volunteer, we're all open and we're all ears.
Yes, definitely. And I'll definitely have your contact details for people who want to get involved.
Great, thank you.
Right. So you've also launched Career Ear, which is the
Mhm.
UK's first Q&A careers advice mobile app.
Yeah.
And this is quite important because this is your target market are actively using mobile apps, obviously young people. Where did you get the idea to create an app?
Um, so that kind of just developed fairly organically out of the stuff that we were previously doing. So we started an initiative called Ask a Professional,
Mm-hmm.
and that was twofold. We were kind of doing video series where we were interviewing young professionals and across various different industries, and basically getting them to share their career journeys, but also their advice and tips for young people.
Mm-hmm.
And simultaneously, we were running a program whereby we were inviting people to ask questions.
Yeah.
Every month in relation to a particular industry, and then we were going off and finding people within that industry to respond to those questions.
Okay.
And I think kind of looking at both of those things and trying to figure out a way that we can streamline it, make it more efficient, make it more accessible, so that you're not pigeonholing people to come up with a question in that particular month for one particular industry.
Mm.
That's kind of where I had the idea for the app.
Mm-hmm.
And so that effectively kind of plugs that gap and takes over from those initiatives, and
Yeah.
enables us to actually allow people to ask any questions that they may have at any time in relation to any industry.
Mm.
And professionals are kind of signed up to respond.
So the app works in a similar way. So they can just type in a question, and someone from that industry of their interest will come back with an answer.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really, really simple platform. So it's a kind of Q&A platform.
Mm-hmm.
As a young career seeker, you type in your question,
Mm-hmm.
you tag it with the industries you think are relevant, and all the professionals who have signed up as kind of as part of those industries will get a notification. And then if they feel that they're able to kind of add some value and respond to your question, then they'll do so. And it's all kind of done through the app. And then you would then get a notification back to say that you've had a response to your question. And generally, most questions get a few responses,
Okay.
and it's taken off really well. We've got hundreds of users actually on both sides in terms of the students and professionals.
Yeah.
It's really good, and we haven't even really started rolling it out yet. So that's really, really positive, and we're really pleased. So the next stage now will be to kind of properly roll it out so that more people know about the opportunity that Career provides.
Mm. So how do you get the industry experts to get involved in this? How do you go about approaching them?
So I guess predominantly it's kind of been word of mouth, social
Mm-hmm.
media marketing, and reaching out into the network that we've built over the last 3.5 years.
Mm.
So generally, we've always involved professionals in what we're doing. So if we, for example, have a workshop, then we'd be inviting professionals to come down, network with the young people that we're working with, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we started. And then it's kind of rolled on from there. So beyond our network, kind of looking at social media and connecting in with companies and saying, look, as an employer, you're in a really good position to say to your employees that this is a good thing for them to be doing. So we're kind of working on that, and there's still a long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how we've been engaging the professionals to sign up and reaching out to, I guess, the professionals who generally kind of have an interest in mentoring and giving back.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have as much time on their hands to do it in a kind of committed program,
Mm-hmm.
but know that this is a platform that, they can be on the bus and respond in a couple of minutes, and, they've really helped someone with a query that they might have had.
No, that's a really, really good idea. What platform is this app on, Career?
So it's available on Android and Apple, and it's completely free for both professionals and students to download.
Okay.
And I use the word students quite loosely. I think if you're a young career seeker, it's probably will do the trick for you.
Okay, thank you. Claudine, you are also a social mobility ambassador for the Law Society.
I am, yeah.
Yes, you are. Can you tell us a bit about what this involves for you?
Yeah, so that came about. So I started that last year, and it's actually, I think, strictly speaking, it's probably only a year. So it's coming to the end of my year as an ambassador. But I think the Law Society are quite keen to make sure that anyone who has been an ambassador continues to do so in some capacity. So I'm sure you'll continue to see me around. But for that, I guess the focus was really on trying to raise a profile of a career in law, and in particular accessibility to a career in law.
Yeah.
The legal industry of all the industries that are out there is one of the most elitist industries. It's not generally accessible in terms of kind of literally, but also there's a perception that it's not accessible.
Yeah.
By people from particular backgrounds. And so what they've done is they've really tried to kind of reach out to the people within the industry who have come through certain challenges and have come through kind of difficult backgrounds to kind of be a bit more visible. So we had to kind of do video interviews. We shared our stories and our journeys in written form as well. And we're encouraged to, which I have done, kind of go out and speak at schools.
Okay.
And connecting with young people and that kind of thing. And there's also kind of exhibition at the Law Society for people who do go to the Law Society can see visibly that that is something that the Law Society cares about, and they're trying to raise the profile of the industry, basically.
And does your workplace actually support this?
They're not physically involved because it's not a firm thing. It's an individual thing.
Right.
But they, they're very supportive of all the stuff that I do outside of work. Frankly, when I was made a Law Society ambassador, they had actually previously shared it within the firm to say, people should sign up. And when I was appointed ambassador, they shared it internally to say that had happened. And they, again, with the student development company stuff, really, really supportive. They've sponsored us in the past. We've done events with them in the past. So that I have no complaints on that front, which is good.
Good stuff. You've also been recognised for your work and received lots of awards. I'm going to try and list those. So we are the City Rising Star Award in 2016, Women for Africa's Judges Special Recognition Award 2016. You are finalist in the Black British Business Awards 2016, and you had a Rising Star Award shortlist 2017 this year, and Digital Leaders Top 100 2017 list. How does it feel to be recognised for all the good work that you do?
Wow, it's quite cool to hear it all out loud. Yeah, and there's a couple of missing as well.
Yeah, I'm sure I did miss some.
It's bizarre to me. When I won my first ever award back in 2015, and that was the Precious Awards, I was completely overwhelmed. And I remember going up on stage and kind of trembling as I kind of gave a speech. For me, the awards are great. Naturally, it's great that the work that I'm doing and working really hard towards doing is being recognised. But ultimately, the best thing about it is that it raises the profile of the work that you're doing. So for me, the most important thing is that actually these awards kind of speak to the wider community, and lets people know the work that we're doing, the impact that we're having, where we want to go in the future, and the causes that we're really trying to challenge. So I think, I wouldn't be able to say which one I'm most proud of or anything like that, but particularly the most recent one that I've been shortlisted for, where the awards, I think, ceremony is in October. That's with the first ever UK Social Mobility Awards.
Okay.
And I think that particular cause is something I'm really, really passionate about. I think social mobility is a huge issue. And that's, I mean, ultimately why the Student Development Company exists. So I think for something like that to be recognised in the first of its kind in those awards is incredible. And it just serves to put the work that we're doing in the Student Development Company on the map a bit, which I'm really proud of.
So you mentioned social mobility. So some of the listeners might not know what social mobility actually is. Can you just explain that?
I guess in the term itself, social mobility just describes the kind of ability for people to kind of move between typically different classes in society. So, someone moving up from working class to middle class, and potentially even downwards mobility. So someone moving from middle class to working class, that kind of thing. In terms of the issue that we're facing, it tends to be kind of focused around how do we ensure that upwards social mobility is possible, and that people from lower social classes aren't put at a disadvantage. And the problem in the UK is that all the way through, from when someone starts school, if they're from a lower socio-economic background, they're at a disadvantage right the way through their careers, for various factors, which I could rant about for hours. But that's kind of the issue that we're trying to tackle, and we're tackling it at a stage where people are kind of coming towards or finish the end of their academic career, but there's work to be done both before and after that, frankly.
Yeah. So I'd say, Claudine, you are a successful person, and one of your mottos for success is set goals, achieve, repeat. Right? That's quite catchy.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm not sure when I made that up, but
So, can you just talk about the importance of setting goals?
I think for me, and the way that my personality is, and the way that I approach my life, setting goals is absolutely everything. I would fall apart, frankly, if I didn't have my to-do list and I didn't have goals that I wanted to achieve. And I think that people underestimate, or sometimes kind of put too much pressure on themselves in relation to it. And I
Yeah.
think it can be a lot simpler than people realize.
Mm.
I think that people are often focused on bigger picture goals and don't see the smaller steps as goals within themselves.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important, so that you've got, the focus and you've got the direction, and you are able to kind of take steps to achieve the kind of bigger picture goals, that you set the smaller goals. Maybe something that you achieve one day, maybe it's something that you achieve during that week, but as long as you've kind of got an understanding as to when you need to achieve it, what it is, and so on, and then you should get there. But I do properly believe that setting goals is really, really important, in order to be successful in your life.
Yeah. But setting goals is a skill in itself, isn't it? Because I know some people don't set goals because they're a bit concerned about not achieving those goals, and some people might set goals that are a bit out of their reach. So how do you set a goal? How do you personally go about setting a goal you think you can achieve, but that also that stretches you?
That's a good question, and I think it can be a difficult balance. I think the starting point is probably, in terms of a goal being realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's difficult to know whether it's going to be achievable.
Mm.
You Once you have the goal, you then have to have the self motivation and determination to work towards it and actually achieve it. And if you
Yeah.
haven't got that, it makes setting the goal pretty pointless in the first place anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think typically, because of the way my personality is, once I've set a goal, you're going to find it bloody hard to stop me from achieving it.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side to that, I mean, I've run workshops where we do talk about goal setting, and we talk about when you don't achieve it,
Mm.
and it's about how you then approach the situation, and kind of how you use the learning points out of that
Yeah.
to inspire you to then reset your goals, because that is a thing that's possible, and it's not a problem
Yeah.
if you are kind of revisiting your goals and resetting them so that they are more realistic based on your experiences and what you've learned from trying to achieve the previous goal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more a kind of mindset issue in terms of people being scared to set goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just moving away from that slightly. So you were supporting the Voting Matters campaign,
Yeah.
which got a lot of people out to vote in the last election. Why do you think it's important for young people to vote, and how can young people become more politically aware?
I personally believe that young people should vote, and I think it's particularly important now. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
as we've seen in terms of how the youth vote, so to speak,
Yeah.
completely changed what the outcome could have been
Mm-hmm.
if they weren't galvanized and didn't vote.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you are a member of any group in society that doesn't vote and doesn't engage, you then end up being forgotten or left out or not considered when policies are being made.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, for me, the fundamental reason why, whether you're a young person, whether you're from a minority ethnic background, whether you're a woman, whatever your kind of characteristic is, it's just important that you get out and vote, because otherwise your voice won't be heard.
Mm.
And I think people take that very literally. And I've had debates with people where they kind of say, well, we're in a democracy. If I vote, my personal voice isn't going to be heard anyway.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at it from a bigger picture, if no young person voted, there's no incentive whatsoever for the people in power to be making policies that are advantageous to young people, because they
Mm-hmm.
know that they aren't going to affect whether or not they stay in power. And
Yeah.
ultimately, those people are only concerned about staying in power.
Mm.
So until we, as young people, make sure that we are constantly out there voting, we won't be able to instigate change in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how young people can become more politically aware, I guess it's just kind of paying attention, really.
Mm.
There is so much talk on social media, which young people obviously rule,
Yeah.
and in the papers, on the news, there's so much that people can read, that they can watch, to kind of get clued up and understand the kind of political landscape. And also, I think that young people shouldn't shy away from having conversations with their peers.
Yeah.
I think a lot of young people who maybe aren't politically aware at the moment would be surprised actually how clued up some of their friends might be and some of their peers at school or university might be. And I think also that, some of the issues that people are talking about, it might not scream that this is a political issue, but generally there is some kind of politics in relating to that issue that you're discussing. So I think keep talking, keep having the conversations, but also just kind of pay attention and stay abreast of the developments that are happening in and around the country and the world.
Okay, good. Have you got any upcoming events that you'd like to tell listeners about?
I haven't got any upcoming events, but we are, and you're the first person to hear about this.
Oh, good.
We
Breaking
are.
news.
It honestly is, because we haven't even launched it yet. We are getting ready to launch a fundraising campaign, which is, strangely speaking, around setting goals and challenging yourself.
Okay.
So watch this space. But once we've launched, I will send you the details as to how people can kind of sign up and get involved in the SDC challenge, which is what it's called.
Okay, excellent. Claudine, it's been wonderful speaking to you today.
Yeah, and you.
And very enlightening. Thanks for your time and keep up the good work.
Thanks very much for having me.
All right, no problem.